We are in the Cibola National Forest
I will never remember that name.
near
Cibola National Forest.
near Tijeras, New Mexico.
What?
The way you're holding this yeast with your hat, like, makes your yes.
Ha cha 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 cha.
Yeah.
It is whatever.
Homemade brews and various how-tos, everything from mead to roast, bake creation, fermentation, inebriation, doing the most.
We decided we would do a little experiment with Kveik Yeast because we've been talking about that a lot for mead. So I brought some Kveik Hothead with me. This is washed yeast from God knows when, 4 or 5 months ago probably.
Let me.
You want to go zoom in on that?
Yeah. It looks like a yeast vial.
It is. We're also making some hot cocoa over here, so trying to keep an eye on that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this up, and this is gonna live in our camping bags. This 32-ounce growler here, and we're gonna mix up a hydromel and attempt to brew it in all the. We're camping 4 days.
Yeah.
4 days we're camping, and then drink it on day 5. That's the plan. Sam the Wonder Dog is out here, staked up, having a good old time. So we've got here about 10 ounces ish of honey. I weighed this before we left. We're gonna use like 2/3 of it, brew it up to like 6.5%, hopefully. And I gotta grab one more thing. Little baggie of Go Firm and Fermento.
But not tannin.
Not tannin. Forgot tannin. Let's brew some mead. Okay. We got honey. We got Go Firm, Fermento. Let's go ahead and get that in the bottle. Oh yeah.
Oh, you put sanitizer in it.
Yeah, bottle sanitize. You know, proper sanitization out here and wherever we are.
Cibola National Forest.
Forest. Cibola National Forest.
Run by the U.S. Forest Service.
Okay, so honey goes in. Like I said, we're going to use about 2/3 of that. Hopefully we don't make a mess and then attract the bears.
This is why I need a gimbal. Oh, you spilled some honey, didn't you?
I did. Where'd you gosh? Now we can't monetize this.
You can cut out. You can bleep it.
I was going to upload it from my phone for our patrons.
Oh.
No mo. And it cussed.
You can't you're going to monetize a video for our patrons?
Yeah. Money, money, money. I make that joke, but your contributions actually do support the channel. I just bought a 60-pound pail of honey and 3 new glass carboys so I can keep ramping up production to keep churning out recipes for you all. Okay, I got a little honey on the side. That's okay. You want that? It's on your lips. Okay, so yeast goes in now. So we got somewhere on the order 6.5 ounces of honey, 7 ounces of honey in there. And there was like a gram of Go Firm and 2 grams of Fermento, I think, which is probably overkill. But Kveik needs a little bit more nutrient, as I've been reading. So maybe it'll be fine.
Is that some foamy yeast?
Yeah.
Oh, is my milk?
I think your milk might be ready. So we're going to take a break here and make some hot cocoa.
Did I get the right amount of milk?
About, yeah. We're going to fill up the water about to there-ish.
Okay.
This may take a while. I might have to time-lapse this.
This has some real Burt Gummer vibes.
Does it?
Yeah.
So the reason we're using Kveik yeast is because we don't have to worry so much about temperature, and it's going to be very varying temperatures. So if it gets a little hot, I'm not really worried about the esters and thiols and things that develop in here due to the heat, because Kveik can handle it, and some of those are desirable. And we're doing it as a hydromel because we feel like we could probably finish it in 4 or 5 days. So this is going to hang out in the backpack. It will go along with us. I will burp this every time I remember to burp it, and then the last day or so, tighten that up, and hopefully it will carbonate over about 24 hours with a little intermittent burping, and we'll have a nice carbonated hydromel. So, wish us luck. The night grew cool and another rainstorm came through. Then when we got up in the morning, we made the rest of the trek to the Kaibab National Forest. This is where we made camp, just a stone's throw from the Grand Canyon. We got up very early the next morning to catch the sunrise.
And then we hiked parts of the South Rim Trail to get some excellent views. When we first arrived here, Sam was very excited getting out of the car, and she kicked my growler out of the car, which fortunately the growler didn't shatter, but the lid did. So I lost a little bit, maybe a quarter cup. So I topped it back up, added a little bit more honey. And here's what we've got now. That is Anna's hair tie right there, in a clean plastic bag. And it seems to be doing just fine. So, dogs in nature. But anyway, it is still fermenting and still bubbling away. So hopefully we'll have some good mead here by the end of the week. I decided to add some lemon peel and a little bit of lemon juice in order to give the hydromel some complexity. And during the days I left it out in the sun so it could get nice and warm. Anna and I both got caught up on some reading, and we also bought this exceptionally ugly blanket because we did not account for just how cold those nights were going to get. And we also got to witness a beautiful sunset and some stargazing. Early the next morning, a bull elk showed up outside our tent, which our dog obviously was very interested in. And then we hiked more of the South Rim Trail, again capturing some excellent views and definitely tuckering Sam out. After lunch, we did Desert View Drive, part of which was closed due to COVID-19, but we were able to make it to Leapon Point. And I just want to pause here to say that this is one of the best kept secrets of the Grand Canyon. This view was stunning. We'd been rating all the views on a grandness scale from 1 to 10, and this was the first time the whole trip where I had a 10 out of 10 experience. The view from this lookout is absolutely majestic and impossible to describe. The sense of smallness from this place in the world is damn near overwhelming. You have to see it. If you go to the Grand Canyon or you whiff by the Grand Canyon on a drive, check out this lookout. It is incredible. Having slept on the ground for 4 nights, we made our way back to New Mexico, but for part of the drive, we swung through the Petrified Forest, which provided an incredibly brilliant landscape. Every view looks like a painting. We were able to see a variety of different rock formations, as well as some really cool examples of petrified wood just sitting out on top of the ground. It was really amazing to see. We arrived in Albuquerque at our Airbnb, and I decided to try and get this mead cold crashed. It had been in the cooler throughout the day, but I really wanted to get as much of the active yeast settled out as I could. And it just so happened that this Airbnb was owned by a microbrewery enthusiast, so I was able to borrow this cap, and yes, I did return it, but it gave me a more airtight seal on the growler. That sat in the freezer for about 3 hours, and then I moved it to the refrigerator.
So we're here at the Airbnb. This is a beautiful Airbnb.
It is. It's lovely. Ignore our junk.
Yeah, there's some junk. There's Sam. Yeah. What you've seen on the pre-recorded stuff is that I stole it from one of these growlers because, hey, wouldn't you know, similar setup there to here. This is probably not carbonated. We're 4 days in, yeah. So we're gonna open it up and taste it. I did not back sweeten this because it seemed like it was going to finish a little bit sweet. So we're going to pour taste, and this will be very cloudy. The idea was that this was going to be drinkable, and I should give credit to, there's this guy on Reddit that did this with a backpack beer, and that's where I got this idea from initially, many moons ago. So maybe I can find that and put a link in the description. But the idea was to brew it with Kveik, so that way there were no problems due to temperature fluctuations or any of that. And there were some extremes. During the day it was probably in the 100-ish degrees in the bottle, sitting in the sun, and then at night the temperatures dropped into the low 40s. So this was swinging back and forth for 4 days. So let's check it out and see how beautiful it is. Beginning the pour. Trying not to get any chunk of lemon in there. It's wonderfully cloudy.
Yeah, I thought you were about to say clear, and I was like,
Yeah, it's not
no.
clear. But again, the idea is to get something drinkable fast.
Got something floating in there.
Some mead ice.
Cool.
Well, it was in the freezer for a while. I was just like, what is that floating in there? So, let's give it a try. Anna, are you going to try this too?
Sure.
It's a backpack brew. It smells like mead. It's a good sign. Doesn't smell too yeasty. It tastes like a lemon hydromel with no fizz.
Yeah, it's like pretty mild,
Yeah,
pretty light.
pretty mild and pretty light. There's not a lot of yeasty flavor in there.
No.
I think it could use a little bit more of the lemon juice, you think? To give it a little more lemon pop.
Yeah, that would give it more flavor.
But it's mostly, I mean, it finished with a little bit of a perceptible sweetness. I don't know that there's a lot of honey left in here.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I
I tasted it day one and it was sugar water.
don't know how it compares to other things, but it's not sweet. Like it's sweeter than water.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad. For something brewed in a backpack, well, brewed on the go, brewed camping, brewed in the tent. What are you shaking your head for?
Yeah, did you ever put it in a backpack?
Well, Sam broke the lid, so I didn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
the opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah.
put it in the backpack. So anyway, it can be done. This is just, I would say, like off dry. It's I think it's finished fermenting though. I think this is just a little bit of perceptible residual sweetness. It is definitely not clear, but I think if we had another 2 days to put this on ice in the freezer, we could cold crash this out pretty clear. But otherwise, not bad. And now cut to that beautiful B-roll.
Overall, the Kveik experiment was really interesting, but the experience of visiting the Grand Canyon for the first time in my 35-year life was something that I will never forget, and I don't think Anna or Sam will ever forget it either. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave us a comment and let us know what you thought of this Kveik camping brewing experience. You can follow us on Instagram and Pinterest at doingthemostok, and of course our website is doingthemost.org. Until next time, happy brewing and stay safe.